All right. Hey, how you doing? This is Eric from AHA, Americans Having Americans and AMP Live, the American Mentee Program. Welcome to AMP Live, the AMP Live Real Estate Show. And today is Mindset Money Monday. So hopefully you're rocking and rolling and you're getting the gears going. I know, hey, I hope you all had a happy Easter as well. There's a scan that there's a QR code there. That's just for showing up out of the gate. It's surfing for deals. You can download it. It's free. Coming to you live here in beautiful Southern California. Special guest here as well. It's Erlene. She's going to be on here. I'm going to bring her on. And then anybody else who wants to come on, just let us know in the chat. You got some questions, you want to ask some questions, put them in the chat and go from there. You can also, anything that pops up here, if you got any questions at all, definitely ask. But the topic for today was going to be on-market, off-market properties, right? What's the difference? Which one's better? Is there a better one? The good, the bad, the ugly. What is the process for on-market properties and off-market properties? I'm going to go ahead and share my screen real quick so Erlene can go ahead and ask some questions, or if I come across something, or maybe you want to go ahead and stop me, go for it, and we'll go from there. So this is a little bit of a better setup. This is in several groups. It's streaming live across different platforms like LinkedIn, TikTok, YouTube, different YouTube channels, Facebook, and all that good stuff, right? And whatever else Sweden can hook us up into. At the same token, it's always live and uncut, right? So I don't work off of a script or a teleprompter. Sometimes I'll have some notes, right? I'm a little old school. Everything's right here in the brain. I just need a little bit of overview, and then we go from there. But I know we're talking about off-market and online market type of property, stuff that's on the MLS and stuff that's not on the MLS. A little bit of two different jams, but they're easy peasy, and we're going to share some things with you. Today, once again, I'm Eric from AHA, Americans Helping Americans, and AMP Live, the American Mentee Program as well. That's one of our mentoring programs where we train and mentor people across the United States of America one-on-one. There's no program like it on planet because nobody really does it, right? And we also JV and partner up. Shouldn't even say JV because they're more like partnerships, right? Because we're both on the contracts. So it's not like a JV agreement. We're actually on the contract with our mentees if they want to, and some don't for whatever reason, right? But I say 99% of them want to go on the contract, either as a bird dog if we're just trying to get some fees, or a wholesale type deal, or a subject to existing financing, fix and flip. When they got a little bit of money or cash, you move a lot quicker and faster. Erlene, go ahead and introduce yourself. And I know you're helping us out, and appreciate it, along with mentees and qualifying people and bringing them to the table, and then sharing your love of being an entrepreneur, because obviously you've had some. I heard your story; it was awesome. And here we are connected now, and you're bringing some people to the table. But I know that you're interested in like some other things, entrepreneurial-wise, right? Which is like the pad split, more like cash flow type things, right? And I get it. I'll leave it at that. But go ahead, and if you got a couple of things you want to share with us, I'd appreciate it.
Hello, I'm Herlene Peck, and I met Eric a couple of months ago. And I'm working on, just like you said, affordable housing, co-living. And right now we're doing a Texas, and then we're hoping to be into Phoenix, Arizona after that. It's very exciting. There's a lot to it. And I don't know what I would do without the help of Eric right now. So that's what I'm doing.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much. Thanks for showing up as always, right? That's the main thing, right? 90% is showing up, then 99%, like today, is mindset. Because a lot of times, right, we've been kind of talking, right, had the holidays, I talked to a lot of people throughout the United States of America. Sometimes they're up, sometimes they're down, sometimes they're a little bit here. And they always ask, how do you stay fired up and motivated every single day, every time I talk to you? Whether it's a morning, afternoon, a Saturday or Sunday or Monday, the attitude is always, here or even higher. It's very rare that I'm going to be on the horn. Oh, how's it going? And on, this and that, because that's just, I guess it's programmed into me over the years. Thanks to, hopefully, if you haven't read it, here's my suggestion. We had a young man's going to come aboard over the weekend, had to talk to his wife and all this good coming aboard the American Mentee Program as a mentee. He's out in Texas as well, and a few other people in different states, kind of the same jam, right? But he was having some issues and trying to find deals, spinning the wheels, and and getting some information here and there. Was writing offers, just weren't closing them. There was always a little bit of almost like a doctor, right? Bring that stuff to the table. We'll analyze it. We'll look at it, and we'll go, hey, what's the problem? And that's not to say, is it about me, right? Are you the problem? And those just things that need to happen, right? What are you doing when you're talking to a seller, right? On market, off market. Some people think it's a lot easier to just jump on and just say, hey, I'm just going to go on market because there's a real estate agent and they can write the contracts and they can put in the clauses and they'll do all that good stuff, right? And then there's houses on there, and then I can just turn around and try to sell it off. But you have to make sure you got a unicorn agent, right? And you got to make sure that the agent's going to work with you, not be a gatekeeper. So there are some things certain things that you got to do for that type of lead, and then the ones that are off market, while you're going direct, you're going, oh my God, but sellers are brutal. They want what they want. They want too much. They're harder to work with, right? And then you actually have to make that phone call, talk with those sellers, negotiate, right? And put together either, I had one over the weekend in regards to, making an offer on the phone, or do we go belly to belly, right? And there is a process to that as well. You can throw a bunch of spaghetti at the wall and see what happens, see what sticks. But for today, Mindset Money Monday, the book is Think and Grow Rich. If you have not read it, go out and read it. That book is pretty much is the precedent for every other self-help book that's out there. Tony Robbins and all those guys and gals, right, are doing their thing. We're based off of Think and Grow Rich, and that's building character, being real, truthful, integrity, loyalty, and all that good stuff. And these guys didn't even know, but they're pretty much building and shifting, and women and guys and gals, right? We're shifting America to what it is, and obviously we're going through a lot of stuff right now, but want to talk about that Mindset Money Monday. It's right here. You got to have that mindset. A lot of times you're going to wake up in the morning, stubbing your toe. Something's going to happen. You're going to have a bad day. But I always say, and it's true, and you got to drink your own, your own advice, or take your own advice. And the bottom line is that when you're having a bad day, can you reshape it? Yes. Right. That's just by eliminating that, taking that out of that square box, and then, having a positive attitude and moving forward and kind of framing things a certain way. Or just sometimes you're like, you know what? I think I should just stay inside. You ever have a day like that, where you're like, you know what? I think I should just stay inside because it's just one of those days where, you know what? Hey, you're going to chew somebody up, or someone's going to chew you up, or something's just not right. You ever have those days?
It can even happen in the middle of your day.
Yeah, right? And it's just like, oh my God, okay, what do I do? I was on a roll. So when you're on a roll, you're on a roll, though. That's why I got my little schedule, right? Mindset Money Monday. Monday's an admin day. Tuesday, I got to get fired up for some sales. So it's either sales, recruiting, deals, training, out in the field. It's about real estate. So I'm at a higher frequency and a higher level than I would be on a Monday. Then Monday kind of coming back down. It's Wednesday. I get it. People have their hump day if they got a job. For us, it's just another day. So Wednesday is Wellness Wednesday. Like to go outside where there's maybe a farmer's market, walk around and talk about some real estate if we can do that. If not, it's here in the studio. Then it's about Wellness Wednesday, right? Whether it's right here in the brain, the heart, the gut, real estate, what's going on with the industry and things of that nature. Then we hit it back on Thursday, and I'm fired up again. So it's kind of like going back up where it's a sales day. We're going to be sales, everything we got to do in regards to sales, and either recruiting, same thing, right? Or out in the field working a deal or underwriting deals. And then Friday highlights, kind of the pulse of real estate, do some Saturday training, Sunday sermon type thing. But it keeps my day, or keeps my week structured. And then obviously, I don't know, do you have a morning ritual, Erlene?
Absolutely. I'm structured all day, every day.
Awesome. Yeah, I got a little morning ritual too. I like to read, I like to pray, I like to write, and go over the goals and things of that nature, right? And a little bit of Orwellian stretches, and then start the day, right? And then make your way from the East Coast to the Midwest to the West Coast, right? My day's a little bit different. Not everybody. If you're doing like virtual stuff, then that's probably the same thing, right? Doesn't mean you cannot do it. I'm gonna go ahead and share something with you real quick. I believe this is the motivated seller leads, right? Now the Amplified method, that's what I like to call it. It's called surfing for deals. People call it driving for dollars, driving for deals. It's easy peasy. Anybody can do it. We got an actual live webinar coming up on Thursday. So if there's anybody who sees this, definitely do the likes and the loves and all that good stuff. Pass on the word. We appreciate it, because our true mission is to help our fellow Americans across the United States of America. And that's helping you and others with real estate, whether you're in a situation where you need to sell, or a situation where you don't want to use a real estate agent, or you're just in a situation where you're like, you know what, I want to learn this business. or you're doing the business and you kind of keep on hitting that brick wall and you're going, man, why can't I do a deal? Like there was a young man over the weekend and things been doing it for 3 years. He hasn't done any deals, but I hit him up. He's been doing what have you been doing? How do you find deals? Well, I find them on Zillow, and then I talk to the seller, and then I write them offers on the phone. How's that working? Not very good. Why not? What's the ratios, right? Well, I'll text 10, I'll talk to 2, and I'll send out 2 offers. I said, cool. And you're doing that Monday through Friday. All right, awesome. So about how many deals are you getting out of that, right? So it might be 1 to 2 to 3. So that's beautiful, right? How many are you closing? None, 0. What's the problem? Where's the holdup, right? Why are you stuck? Let me go ahead and pull this back up here. Let me see what we go here. So we do that right there. Boop. There we go. Okay. All right. So I'm like, well, why is that happening? The young man's like, well, I'm not sure. So you got to kind of be like a doctor and diagnose a little bit. Say, okay, while you're doing that, what type of offers are there? What kind of feedback's coming back? Well, the buyers are saying it's too high, or maybe the ARV's not right, or it's too much in repairs. Because he did send over a deal. And that's how we started the conversation. It look good. I go, okay, cool. But he came back with a $30,000 rehab, and it was in the state in a nice area. But the family, when it started, I guess they inherited the property, started tearing out all the floors and all the there's no studs. But you can see they're doing their demo. And then they got tired. They said, "Man, this is not going to work. Can we just sell it? Make me an offer." So that kind of happened. And I didn't know it was on the MLS because it wasn't on. There was no MLS. It wasn't on them, but I guess it was attached to maybe an agent, which is fine. I'd rather go direct to the seller and deal with them and eliminate. Not that I don't want to pay a real estate agent, or we don't pay agents. We will if they're doing their job and they're working right. They procured us as a buyer. They did whatever they need to do, or they allowed us to put a deal together and structure it. Then moving forward, then that's cool. But if the agent didn't do that and they still want to get paid, then remember this. There's a pro tip. Commissions are negotiable. Just because it says 3% on the MLS doesn't mean it has to be 3%. And it's not to cut people, but at the end of the day, sometimes there's not enough for everything. If you want to really make a deal happen and the numbers got to work, then, hey, we all kind of eat it a little bit here and there to make it happen. But with this young man, it's like, okay, 30,000 repairs, 2,900 square foot property. I go, that's going to be a lot more. What do you think repairs would be on that, Erlene? You got 2,900 square foot. You're going to have probably it's going to need the floor. It's going to need full cosmetic floors, kitchens, bathrooms, walls, paint, fixtures, a little bit of love to the front yard and a little bit of love to the backyard. And this isn't a nice area. It's kind of like an estate, half acre. There's a country club down the street, not too far. So it's a little astute little place. So we'd want to do some decent upgrades for the area.
I don't know. What do you think the rehab? I think I got a high number. I was thinking like 150.
Okay, yeah, that could be pretty high. And maybe explain to me how you got that number.
I took the square footage of the house and multiplied it by $60 a square foot.
Okay, that's cool. And yeah, that could probably work. But at the end of the day, it's going to be the demographics, right? Because I asked, where's the area? Who goes and lives there, right? Is it retirement? Is it a subdivision? Where's the jobs? Where's the money at? And it's like, well, okay, well, it's there's jobs nearby. It's not like a high end place. So I would go with, and I did ask him, how about the mechanicals? How's the roof, right? How's the air conditioning? How's the electrical and the plumbing? I said, well, all the mechanicals seem to be all right, and that's the feedback that he got from the other investors. They thought it was okay too. So what I like to do is there's these numbers. I'll throw them out there. Everybody has a different jam. For us, it's $15 a square foot if you're going to babysit and you're only going to pay the labor and you're going to pay for all the materials, right? And that's when you're like, we would probably usually do when we're going to build a crew. Start off and babysit, go to phase 1, 2, 3, and 4 and pay them out accordingly. Once we got a good crew, boom, then we can move quicker and faster. And we won't have to babysit as much. So then we can go up to $20-25 a square foot, not using an agent or I should say a contractor, unless you really want one. But then we'd sub everything out, right? And go with the subcontractor to do a lot of, we pick our electrical. We'd pick, if that's going to be that. If it's just cosmetic, cosmetics is simple, and even if there's carpet, there's no carpet. It's just a phrase, right? Carpet tile paint, get in, get out. Carpet tile paint, get in, get out. Make it look lovely and love to the front yard, love to the backyard. Cool. If we got to do a little higher end stuff, maybe going to put some quartz and can lighting and nice fixtures and stuff, then we'll go about 30, 35 bucks a square foot. Might even get a contractor, but we'll pick all the subs and then go from there. So when you do that, I think this area, be honest with you, is probably because it is, population is okay. It's not like super huge. It's not like Dallas or Fort Worth or something like that. It's on the outskirts. So it would be probably about maybe max 20, 25 bucks. If you really want to do a good job, 30 bucks a square foot. Now, if we're going to go ahead and so we find out the 60 bucks would work if we got mechanicals, right? We got to do the roof. We got to do all the electrical. We got to put go ahead.
That's the difference between you rehabbing a house and me. I have to have a GC. So that's a huge difference right there.
Yeah, the GC is going to obviously, charge you more.
Yep.
And they're going to use what they're going to use. And that's okay. You got the protection of all that good stuff, right? But if you're taking over the property, you can act as a GC legally, and you can sub out whoever you want, a professional electrician, professional, contractor, to do certain things, right? If you hire one contractor and they say, yeah, I'm going to bid it all out and hopefully they get the job done and they do it right, cool. That's usually after you've built a relationship. You pick 3, interview, and then go with one, right?
Yeah.
And then see how it goes. And if they do awesome, great. If they don't, then you got to fire them and get someone else. Fire them, get someone else. Until you find the right ones, right? So that it's going to be pretty expensive just for that. So, but when you have the roof, when you have electrical, if you have plumbing, you get foundation issues or any of that, it's usually going to double off of our cosmetic rehabs. And there are some GCs if you actually partner up with them because they want to make some money too and they want to get into the business. So. They're not going to kill you with, hey, it's 100% or 50% of, whatever their bottom line is. They got to pay their people and then they got to have the materials, right? Whatever the materials are, and then, have their profit. If they're willing to work something out, and that's the thing. That's why you find certain ones that are flexible. They want some business. Let them know you're going to have multiple properties for them and things of that nature. And bringing something to the table, then it's a different jam, right? You're building a relationship together with them to say, "Don't kill me on cost. Look, I know what it costs. Right. If you want to, cool. But if you're going to get it done, you say, hey, it's everybody else saying it's a 6-week job. You get it in 1, 2, 3 weeks, and it's going to be awesome looking. Then I'll be more than happy to pay you because we're going quick and fast, right? But you got to get it done, and that's where it comes down to. Some of them won't want to fill out your contracts either, right? They say, no, I'm not going to sign that because I got to be protected in case something happens. But if you're a contractor, yes. If you're doing if you're starting to move walls and you're doing engineering and all kinds of crazy stuff like that, then yeah, get a GC, get a contractor, and then sub it all out with different ones or just use one and then trust that he's going to have the right people to get it done. We're just going in for a fast fix and flip. Look, built in 2003, all the bones are good, right? Just depending on the builder. Some builders have leaks. Some builders have electrical issues. Some builders have foundation issues or roof issues. Depends on which one it is. If it's just a mom and pop builder, it is what it is. But we're here to get in and out. 2 or 3 weeks, right? We just want to rehab the son of a bitch, put on the market, and sell it. We're not trying to knock down walls and trying to build stuff out and all that good stuff. That's just a simple fix and flip. So we like to call it a cosmetic fix and flip. Very simple, right? So you're just taking care of the kitchen, the bathrooms, the floors, all the fixtures and anything inside. You're going to paint the whole house and things of that nature, right? And then you're going to do a little bit of love to the backyard, a little bit of love, which means curb appeal to the front yard, and maybe something in the garage, and that's it. So we got a budget for all that. Now, if we go in, like this young man didn't know, he put $30,000. Well, that's not good. $30,000 won't even work with 2,900 square foot, right?
I would imagine. For me, it wouldn't.
Yeah. So 150,000, I think now if we here in California or maybe somewhere in a nice, beautiful area in Arizona, if it was California, say it was like Newport Beach. Yeah, you're probably going to do 150,000 on a rehab. That's maybe 2,900 square foot. It'd probably be 60, 70, 80 bucks a square foot, right? Because we're going to put some luxury stuff in there. It's going to cost a lot more money. And if there is structural issues, then that could go even higher, right? So I agree with you there. Anything that's structurally, or I should say, where there's going to be the roof or electrical or something like that, the mechanicals, then we're up to about probably what you just said, 60, 70,000, right? But if it's a fast rehab and it's cosmetic, then it's 2000 and up year when it's built. It should be easy peasy. You shouldn't, because you're not going to be removing stuff. You're not going to be doing crazy stuff unless you're doing like the pad split or you're doing some co-living stuff or Airbnb, right? Because usually you got to spend some money to get all the fixtures. That happened in another one that we're talking to. We're probably going to try to take it subject to existing financing, but they went ahead and did the pad split thing. Didn't quite work out for them. They spent the money to get it. The wholesaler made money, and that's fine. And then structured the deal, and then they put it out there, and it didn't work. And then he spent a bunch of probably $10, $15, $16, $20,000 just on furnishings and TVs and beds and all that good stuff, right? So I get it. There's going to be, depending on the exit strategy and depending on how many years it's going to take to stabilize. Sometimes if you can do it quickly or whatever, then you'll make your money back. Yeah. Or if you're going to arbitrage that sucker, right, where you're not buying the property, you're just going to do a 5, 10, 15-year lease if you can, and then arbitrage the Airbnb and just put the money into it. That's totally different. Now, I'm probably speaking stuff and talking about stuff that, don't need to, but, it's on my head, right? I'm thinking about it right now. Right now, we're just talking about, hey, how do I find leads? What's the difference between off-market and on-market, right? I need motivated sellers, because I'm hearing a lot of that throughout the United States right now is going sellers. And then, like the young man who wrote up the contract. And he's like, okay, well, what's going on? Right? So I'll stop right there. You got any questions for me or anything you want to add?
I do not. The way we bought our property, we used a foreclosure.
Yeah, foreclosures are awesome. That's basically what we do. They're great for sub 2. That's all we look for out in Southern California, along with probates and high equity tired landlords. So foreclosures are great if you can get that done, and that's what we like to do. It's usually, and I'll talk a little bit about that. It's part of your lead generation, right? You can find them if you ask all the right questions. We call it the mission is a submission, right? So it's usually a link, and then there's a submission form on top of that. It's the art of the deal. We're actually going to go through it, and you're going to ask sellers questions and things of that nature to be able to provide those solutions to them, and then move forward like Erlene did with the property that she's working on. Stuff that we're looking at, I think I shared a couple with you, right? It's the same thing, pre-foreclosure in the situation. If it's a big property, perfect for a pad split or co-living or assisted living, whatever's going to work for anybody who wants to do that. Now, overbuilt stuff is a little tougher to sell, so that's why it would be perfect for that. If it's just something that's in a nice area, and then you can move it quickly, that's what it comes down to. And you'll find a lot of those with pre-foreclosures as well, right? We're just going to make up the back payments. You're going to give the seller some money to move on, and then you're going to fix and flip it, put it back on the market, or keep it as a buy and hold. That's a great way to do that. But you will find these properties on market. Now, you found this off market, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So off market, when you're doing that, what was the process to find that? Were you working data? Were you cold calling? Were you just surfing for deals? What?
We have a program called Deal Sauce, and we just put it in there. It's called Deal Sauce.
What is that like? Is that like PropStream or something? Or
it is kind of like, yes, it is like a PropStream.
Is it a
rebrand? Maybe, I'm not sure. It works for us, and so we went in and found our foreclosures, and it gave us a list, and we pulled them out and started calling them, and then Jeremy went after them, and that's where we started. That's where we got our foreclosure.
So you found a property, skip chat, skip trace, you got all the information, made some phone calls, and then called them up and went to the property?
Yep. Well, we do the walk tomorrow.
Okay, so you do the walk tomorrow. So you haven't visited the property yet?
No, because the lady's out of town who owns it.
Oh, so she's out of town who owns it. So
she had a realtor, and then they had an out. They had an argument, and he quit. She was out of town. Yeah. She was out of town when he did that, and we had to wait for her to get back.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Interesting stuff, right? Just never know. So is there a lockbox on it?
I'm not sure if there's a lock. No, there wouldn't be if he quit. He took his lockbox with him, I would hope.
Yeah, you never know, right? Or sometimes the sellers will put their own lockbox because they want to be able to get in and out without having to use a super key or something like that, because we use super keys here in California. So, sometimes they'll do that, or they have their own key, of course, but, in case other people want to see the property, but that's cool. So you're going to go see it tomorrow?
Tomorrow, Jeremy does the walkthrough on it, and he'll just film the walkthrough as he does it, because it's in Texas.
Gotcha. He's in Texas, right?
Yes.
Gotcha. Cool. So yeah, so that's just part of the process, and that's the great way to do it, right? You got to have that boots in the ground. A lot of people want to do the virtual stuff, which is fine, but with us, we have mentees that we work with, so we won't go into an industry or an area to go ahead and do deals unless there's a mentee out there, because it makes you can take the time to do it if you're building your own agency and things of that nature to go ahead and do that. But you got to work with the seller, get some pictures, get some videos, find somebody. Some people pay to take pictures and all that good stuff. I'm not I guess I'm not into all that good stuff, right? I'd rather just have some good boots on the on the ground, right? And be able to, hire them, work with them. 9 times out of 10, I guess the way we do it, right? They're always mentees. So I don't work with a lot of JVs or wholesalers and all that other good stuff, right? Because it just turns out to be a big drama thing, and people show up and then they don't show up. Look, I know I'm always going to show up. That's the difference, right? And other people I think, hey, can I just send you a deal and you mentor us? Well, that never works, right? It's because we always end up holding and getting stuck holding the bag at the end of the day. And, say, well, I'll do this and I'll do that. Say, yeah, but, the experience level is not there. You're still going to have to learn, like the young man that we're going to recruit, right, and bring aboard. He's like, hey, everything you're saying, man, will you mentor me? I said, of course, yeah, no problem. But at the end of the day, we live in a capitalist world. Nothing's free. What are you going to bring to the table? A bunch of deals that don't go nowhere. You still need to be educated. We still got to share time. We still got to work with you. We still got to mold you a little bit. Just fill in the little pieces to get you up and going, because we're going to make our money doing deals, right? And it's the same premise, right? Hey, a lot of people ask that. It's almost like saying, I don't know, someone with experience here and then someone with experience over here, no experience, and they're saying, hey, can you help me with this? But I got really nothing to bring to the table, kind of, sort of, And it makes it. You got to sometimes put yourself in their shoes, right? And I've done that, like my mentor, right? I was like, hey, what do I need to do for you to work with me? And it was, well, bring me deals. But I also had to make sure that I underwrote them correctly, that, I qualified them. I had a system and a process and websites all built. I had a business, and then I brought that to the table, and he allowed me to go with him and listen and, work with him exclusively based on that, right? In the beginning, it didn't happen. Nobody wanted to work with me because you got no experience, right? I'll bring you a deal, this and that. Well, bring something, and then I'll cut you a check, right? That's what I always used to say. We still do. We come into the office, say, give me an excuse to write you a check, and let's do it, right? But you got to bring the tenacity, and you got to rock and roll to bring that stuff to the table so we can do some business together. Because look, that you're out there hunting deals. We're all hunting deals. If you're in the business, you're talking. Everybody has a different flavor of what their business is like, whether acquisitions, dispo, or an agency of some sort, right? For us, obviously, we do the mentoring and the training and all that good stuff. We have a AHA, America's Real Estate Firm. Then we have brokerage, and we have traditional real estate and lending and all that good stuff, right? So there's a lot of components, but it's all real estate. I'm the head of, obviously, the private sector. We got Elizabeth, who's head of the public sector, right? So she takes care of that. But we combine those together so we can. That's the only reason we started helping people, is because we're hearing a lot of those horror stories, right? And hey, what's up? You working a deal? I'm trying. What's going on, right? There's always a little something at the end of the day. And we like to go quick and fast, right? That's why I was asking you, say, what happened? Or why did you just talk to the seller and get to the seller very quickly, and set an appointment, walk the house, get the video, and boom, lock that sucker up. So you're still going to that process, right? Where you still got to go view the property, walk the property, or did you send out a contract already?
No. Jeremy, one of my business partners, is over there. He's walking the property.
Okay,
He's also,
no contract yet, right? It's just doing the due diligence part?
Yep, we are first in line. That is, we kept our spot there even when the realtor quit, because we went back in and talked to the owner right away.
All right, good. Yeah, that's the way you do it. You want to go, so they're going valley to valley. So valley to valley is always fun.
Interesting.
Yeah, no, it is. That's how I started, is going valley to valley. A lot of people are trying to do deals over the phone. I get it. Let's go phone. Just do the phone, and try to get those offers, make those offers like this young man was doing, right? That's just a prime example. And he said 50-50 shot, and then they get pissed off, and then they ghost you, and then they get insulted, right? Good thing that you have technology. So with technology, you're able to still follow up with the people even after I always say, with every mistake, you lose trust, right? So you can call it a mistake by making an offer and then build that relationship first, right? This is a relationship business. It's still a relationship business. That's real estate, right? It's about people and emotions, what's going on, providing those solutions. a little bit of psychology, right? Tied with sales. So if you don't know it, and if you don't ask those questions, I notice a lot of people don't ask questions, right? I even asked a young man, what happened? Did you even view the property? No. Oh, you're right. All your deals sight unseen. Yeah, I sure do. How's that going for you? Well, not very good, obviously. Right? So so you don't view the property, but you're close to it. But you sent 2 or 3 investors to go view it. They gave you feedback and told you what the problem was, but you didn't even take the time to go see it. You got to take the time. He goes, wow, yeah, you're right. Yeah, you got to take the time. It's like, here's like what you guys are doing is perfect, right? Synopsis of what we do with the mentee comes aboard, where they're going to fill out that lead gen form. A seller's going to fill out in the comfort of their own home. Period. If they don't, I always say, look, then that's going to be you, right? Erlene, me, someone. A mentee is going to call them. Go through the whole submission form. Could take 15, 20, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, depending on how you build that relationship. Get them to tell you everything from birth until now. Once they do that, then we go back and we underwrite it, get all the information, see if there's any firsts or seconds, make sure that they are the sellers, because sometimes it's, they're selling their dad's house, or it's their grandpa, someone passed away, or they're not the ones on title, right? Oh, I'm my friend, I'm the friend. I'm a real estate agent, but it's off market. Some weird stuff happens. And I even talked to the young man about that. What happened? Does that happen to you? Yeah. Daisy chains. All these buyers are not really buyers. And here's my thing about that, right? Maybe 7 out of 100 are real buyers, where they got cash, they got a 401k, and they got something to work with, but you have to vet them. And you're gonna see how that all turns out, right? It's fun and it's awesome, but on that journey, when you're going to figure that stuff out yourself, it is what it is. But there's nothing like having a mentor, because then they're going to tell you, right? Hey, you can go that way. What's over there? Take a walk and go check it out. Well, aren't you going to come, Eric or Arlene? No, it's all right. We'll wait for you right here. Let me know how that goes. And they'll go and they'll come back and they'll go, okay, what do we do? What do we need to do? We need to go this way, right? This is where the money's at. This is how we're going to structure the deal, and this is why. And a lot of people, if you don't know what you don't know, you don't know, right? There's things that I didn't know about, and I was like, I had to find out, ask questions. Why is that? Why would they even sell that property and move on? Why would they give it away? Why would they allow you to take it over, right? Because it's providing solutions to the seller. But creative real estate investing is our jam. It's what we do. It's what we love. And Erlene, appreciate you helping out and being on here. You scan that QR code there. And that's for pretty much to register to lock in your spot for the Americans Helping Americans program. And we're going to be able to talk about this on Thursday. It's going to be Thursday, 2 p.m. There should be a link, I believe. I'm not sure if we're going to pull it up pretty soon. Sean Gavin, is it even possible to buy sub-2 seller finance in the state of California with the prices? Of course, yeah. We're looking at one right now. Oh, yeah. Deal sauce is what? Pace Morby. Let me see. I can't see.
And Jamil.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yep.
So is that high level of some sort, maybe?
Yeah, it's supposed to be.
Everybody's white labeling everything.
That's what we use.
Yeah, probably, yeah. You just have to go in and take a look. Of course, yeah, California. A lot of people are afraid of California. Sean, I get it.
Me.
But at the end of the day, it's probably not the greatest place to want to have rentals. But for the prices, like we're looking at one, is what 700,000. It's probably worth 1 to 3, 4 million. Are they going to sell? Sure. Days on the market were about 30 to 45 days. They're there. You got to remember last cycle. Right now, even this cycle starting to happen. You get a piece of shit house in Los Angeles for $1,100, 800 square foot. I mean, $1.1 million, right? Or you can go to the high desert or the Inland Empire or San Bernardino and buy a 2,000-3,000 square foot house for 4, 5, 6, 700,000, 800,000, right? Even then, that's way too much, right? I remember when they're 100, 150,000, and then 200,000, 300,000, 400,000, the market took a shit, and then it went all the way back, even lower. It's never happened in any time in history. San Bernardino took a shit, and it went all the way down to like 70, 80,000 bucks. That means it went from it skipped the cycle and went backwards. And of course, that's just the way it is. If you know your area, right? Los Angeles is going to get hit. San Bernardino goes down first, Inland Empire, Riverside, Orange County, then LA. First thing to come back up after the foreclosures and then the short sales and then the REOs, the market will bottom out. But the first thing that starts going up is Los Angeles, Orange County, Riverside, and then San Bernardino. So if you know your market, you know your area, yeah, you're going to make money. It's like having a freaking crystal ball to a degree, depending on the economics and what's happening and who the players are in the area. It's just part of the jam. But yeah, it can be done. Do it all the time, especially, but you're going after pre-foreclosures too, right? Or you're looking for those properties that are jacked up. Maybe they got inherited. Every once in a while, you see some stuff in Newport or maybe Santa Monica, and the family members, right? They're like, I don't want the house. I don't want to keep it in family. Okay, who cares? I want my money. So then you'll get a house, but that's going to be a house that's been lived in for 30, 60, 50, 60 years. So you definitely are going to want to get a contractor. You're going to want to knock down some walls, add some square footage, start building higher, start putting some stuff in the back in a pool and make it an up-to-date functional property for Newport Beach or any of these other places anywhere in Southern California. But I know about Southern California. Northern California, it is what it is and things of that nature. But great question, man. But it's definitely doable. Any questions, Erlene?
I do not.
Anything to add?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think I'm good. The only reason I don't do California is because I do rentals. California is not a landlord friendly state.
Right.
That's it. That's my deal. But to buy something, fix it up, and sell it, yeah, there's probably money in it, depending on where you are.
Yeah, or you're going to take a big house like what you're talking about, or you big like the house we're looking at down in Inland Empire. Then that's still fine for Section 8. Maybe it's co-living, traveling nurses, assisted living, autism houses, sober living, things of that nature. Because that's what we got. One young man who started about 3 years ago. He's got maybe about 4 or 5 of those already. So he's rocking and rolling. He picked his niche. He's an engineer, smart guy. Started off with Airbnb, then another Airbnb. Goes, man, this is a pain in the ass. There's too much of this and that. And he still has them because he likes them, because he wants to be able to use them every once in a while with his buddies and his wife and stuff. But then he started going, hey, he found a couple in Marietta, and they go, hey, here's an assisted living. This is pretty cool. And they wanted to sell them, right? There's about 2 or 3. So obviously you're finding, people that are tired and they don't want to run them anymore. And a lot of times you can, pay them some money and keep them aboard until they're done. Or you get in there with sub 2 as well. That's basically what he was doing with a little bit of creative finance and some money. He had to go out and get his license for that, right? But he was willing to do it. Like I say, he's a smart guy. He's cool. Get a license for everyone. Assisted living, now he got his shirt and he's all rocking and rolling, and that's his jam, right? So if you're going to make money in California, it's going to be stuff like that, where there's either some government dollars, there's some family dollars, some trust money dollars that are coming in, and obviously you got a lot of people that are out here in Southern California that are elderly, right? So assisted living is awesome if it's single family. Sober living works too, but hey, if you want the riffraff and you want to deal with that, that's going to be something where it comes from your heart. Hey, I want to give back. Or maybe even for the vets, right? So that stuff is done all over the place in all these counties here. And Southern California is so freaking big. Of course, Northern California as well. There used to be an area in Riverside. It's called Temecula, right? It's becoming the next Napa in California, right? So a lot of houses, a lot of stuff, vineyards, and all kinds of stuff's happening down there. So when the market starts shifting again, right, where are we going to go? Instead of going to the high desert, where I came from the last cycle and made money, we're going to start hitting down over there in that section, because when those properties take a shit, it's going to happen, right? You're going to get them for pennies on the dollar. Check, there's areas in Diamond Bar and Chino Hills, right, where properties were at, when it took a dump, $700,000-800,000. Now they're about $3, $4, $5, $10 million, right? But when it takes a shit again, what's going to happen? Probably won't go back down to 600, 700, 800, and maybe 1.1. You're still going to get a deal. So it's just a matter of, it doesn't matter where the hell you're at. Real estate's location. It just depends on what your jam is. If it's buying properties, yeah, that's why a lot of people usually go to the Midwest, or they'll go in there's states, right? We got all those different states where you can buy and cash flow, and you don't have to worry about the crazy laws that California has, right? But it is what it is, so that's part of that. But to get back to what we're talking about here, surfing for deals, scan that QR code right there. Let me see if we got anything right here. I'm trying to, what's this, post messages? Okay. All right, awesome. Put that in the chat real quick. Great question. All right, there you are. Cool. All right. Kill that real quick. All right. So scan that QR code, and basically it's very easy. It's easy peasy stuff. It's for someone who needs it, who wants it. You can do it with elbow grease, right? And you can find properties that want to sell and need to sell is what you're looking for, right? Either it's on market or off market, because that was the topic for today, right? Going after those MLS deals, going off to the off market deals. They all got their flavor. They all got different softwares out there too, right? Because I think Privy is good for the MLS stuff, right? PropStream is good for a little bit of both, but their skip tracing is not very good. Batch was pretty good for a while. I think it is too. I think we don't use it that much, but they got some good data. Deal Machine is an up and comer for, they've been around for a while for the driving for dollar stuff, right? So that's kind of like what this is. You're looking for deals, you build your own list. They got some awesome data for like almost skip tracing. You want to talk to the probates, their aunts, their uncles, and all kinds of crazy stuff. It's cool. Their foreclosure stuff's about a day late, dollar short. Sometimes, hey, sold the house a year ago, 6 months or whatever. PropStream's pretty accurate with that type of data. Even PropWire, I think Jerry Norton has something out there that it's called PropWire now. And we're kind of looking at it and comparing it with others, and it's like, cool. They were giving out the NOD information for a while. I don't know about now. I noticed that they changed their platform and kind of changed stuff up a little bit with the transaction history as well as the first page and of what's going on with the property. But I like the old version better, to be honest with you. This new one's a little different and weird, but they would put in there, right? Hey, this one's a default 10,000, 15,000, 30,000. Depending on what state you're at, right? Then it'd have the information instead of having, because usually you got to pull that from a title company, a national title. If you got access to a national title desk, you can pull it up, see what's going on. Hey, where's the free foreclosure? You can see the letter, you can see the contract, you can see the agreements, all that good stuff. Then you can figure out the note. Once you get that notice of default letter that you pull up and you can review, it's going to tell you the default amount. Once it hits a notice of trustee sale, depending on where you're located, this is here specifically in California, right? But that notice of trustee sale, you'll be able to look it up and figure out those numbers, right? So the thing that you did in pre-foreclosure is Texas, right? Texas is a little bit different. Do you know the process out there, Erlene, for pre-foreclosures?
I have not walked it yet.
Okay.
I'm getting ready to.
I mean the process, because they foreclose a little bit different. So, California, they'll do things a little differently as well.
So we're not in I guess we are in pre-foreclosure, but it goes up for auction here. I think it's the middle of next month. So we're just close. We went for the foreclosure as opposed to like pre-foreclosure, because foreclosure, you have less time to get in and get it done.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I know that Texas is a little quicker because I think they got like 30 days, then it goes to auction. Yeah. So you just got to find them before they actually get to that point, right? Before they actually go to auction. So that's maybe the thing that you got to find. Out here, it's like, hey, you get a notice of default, you got 90 days, and then it's going to get recorded and turned into a notice of trustee sale. Then you got about 45 days before it becomes an auction. And, if it's over encumbered, no one's going to buy it. It's going back to the bank as an REO. Unless an investor buys it at the auction, and then they move forward, right? Our whole goal is to try to catch those deals before they actually go to the auction. So we're talking with the sellers, we're working with the sellers, and going valley to valley. It's a little harder to try to do those deals on the phone, right? That's why you got to be there, right? And there's a lot of emotions that are happening, back and forth, So it is a different jam. But for today, we're talking about on market, off market. So obviously deals are done off market. I prefer off market because we go directly to the seller, provide a solution. There's no middleman, and it's okay. The other one, if it's a super juicy deal on the MLS, then we'll go ahead and move forward with that. But usually it's got to make sense. And there are some of those subject to terms that you can go with, and maybe even short sales. Because a lot of times we talk to the seller or we talk to the agent, and then we're going to do a short sale. And then we're like, hey, we need to pitch this, or we need to present this to the seller. And if they're a unicorn agent and they're good to go, they're like, yeah, no problem. As long as I can get paid, take care of my seller, and I know who you are, what you're about, credibility-wise, then they'll allow that 9 times out of 10. The ones that don't, there's going to be your gatekeeper agents, right? They say, I cannot do that. I don't think we can. I don't know if my broker's going to allow me, blah, blah, blah. And that's okay. There's a place and time for all those, right? But in Texas, a little bit different. I know they got this wild, wild west, right? You got sub-2 stuff. You got all kinds of cool stuff, seller finance and options, and their jam's a little bit different in how they do their paperwork and stuff. Less contracts here and there. Of course, California is just bombarded. Just for an MLS listing is like 30 30 different pieces of paper, so it's a different animal. But depends. I always say if you can't become an expert in your own backyard, then it's not easier anywhere else. Some people think, oh, I'll just do virtual. I can go here. I can go there. There's always nuances. This depends on how much, patience you have, right? At the end of the day. In the beginning, you're not going to know any better because, hey, it is what it is. You're moving forward and getting stuff done one way or another, or you're going to get frustrated. So that was the purpose of today. So hopefully, hey, you can definitely do the Surfing for Deals, scan that. I'm going to introduce myself real quick. Obviously, I've already done that, but I'm Erick Jimenez. I'm native California. We're all about one American at a time, one property at a time, one family at a time, doing our part to get America back on track together with you and others across the United States of America. That's AHA, Americans Helping Americans. And through that, AMP Live, the American Mentee program, was born out of a necessity in regards to what's out in the industry with others, right? And that's just, hey, I went to a program and it didn't work for me, right? I'm still spinning my wheels. This is happening, trying to figure out how to wholesale. I think, no, I'm going to go do sub 2 because they're all rentals in my area and all kinds of crazy stuff going back and forth. And I get it. So we just had to make a decision going, hey, do we really want to help people and get into that arena and get into that segment? And the answer, obviously, I'm a God-fearing man. I'm not a holy roller. And then, I said, hey, this is what we're going to do. This is what God says. We're going to rock and roll. And this is what you need to do. And this is what it's going to be like until I get tired, right? I like dealing with people. I like lovely people like Erlene and others across the United States of America who appreciate it when we're working together and vice versa, appreciate each other, right? Because it has to be reciprocal. That was the thing. Said if it's reciprocal, we're going to rock. If it's not, that's cool. Right? You deal with a lot of buttholes out there. Do you know who I am? Don't care who you are. Does not matter, man. Our guy or gal, right? If we're good and we're like working together and we have respect for each other, integrity, loyalty, communication, cool. Communication can break down and that can be repaired. The first two, hey, once they're broken, they're broken. There's no reason to do business and all that good stuff. It happens, right? And, just talking with people, getting burned, circumvented, say one thing and this deal comes out this way and that way. I get it. But I like it because when we're working with mentees, right, we're all together. We're working together and we trust each other and we're papered up, right? And then I'm going to share proprietary things with them, vice versa. We're hoping that, hey, we do our job in the next 6 to 12 months. So they keep on rocking and rolling, bringing us deals. If not, I get it. We all know the numbers at the end of the day. It's just like a seminar or webinar or even seminars, right? Percentage is very, very small if you're just going to watch videos and PDFs and Facebook groups and all that good stuff. You'll ride it for as long as you can till you either burn out or disappear and go back to your JOB or stay with your JOB. Coaching gets you a little bit further. Mentoring is what I found works when you're ready after you've been beat up in the industry. After you're all shiny objects and you're spinning your wheels. If you can find somebody, even if it's not us, find somebody who's willing to work with you, right? But we got to bring that tremendous, value to them, some or her in some capacity, so they can. So that's how this was born. This is what we do. This is what we're all about until I decide I don't want to talk to people or be on here or share stuff ever again. It is what it is, right? But this is the jam that we do. And it's the American Mentee program, one-on-one mentoring program. We train and mentor people across the United States of America for 6 months, partner up, do deals for up to 12, plug in whatever we need to. This is coaching that's coming out. We're rolling that out. I scrapped it about 6 times and been talking to some other, dogs or big dogs. You just got to put it out there. Stop forgetting about making it perfect, right? But I get it, I'd rather just work with people that are business owners and, do their thing and need that help, right? A lot of the mentees I work with, right, they're already business owners or they're entrepreneurs and they're doing stuff. And some are not. It's okay. But they're like, hey, no, I don't want to do the kumbaya. I just need you to show me what I need to do so I can build my business, right? No, I don't want to talk to people. No, I don't want to meet with people. No, I don't want to go to meetings. No, I don't want to do 20,000 Zoom calls. No, I don't want to read all kinds of PDFs and shit, right? And that's it. I need you to help me get me to where I want to get to. Those are the best ones. They're like, hey, well, how do I get started? Send them a link. Boom. All right, it's all done. Let's go. When do we get started? 24 to 72 hours, right? Because we still use human beings, right, to get you onboarded. So that's the case. That's it. But I know there's a need for people who need something a little less, maybe 6 weeks, right? Maybe 6 weeks of some coaching with interactive mentoring, things of that nature, right? So next quarter, maybe we'll start entertaining that again and roll that out. Right now, it's one-on-one. It's what we do. It is our thing, one-on-one mentoring, and it's a selection process. So we have to be a good fit at the end of the day, and we'll move forward. But I'm going to go ahead and move forward here. This is Surfing for Deals. We're already at 49 minutes. If you got anything to add, let's do it. If not, that's cool. This is very simple. It's Surfing for Deals. I think I put this in the chat. It'll be a simple PDF here. Just copy and paste. It'll help you blow up your phone with texts and emails and all that good stuff and sellers. Next part is going to be, well, what do you do with them, right? How do you qualify them? And when you get their information, how do you underwrite them? So there's a process to all that. We'll work with you on it. There's a group as well that you can join. There's a little bit of information on me. It's my one sheet right there. I did want to share this with you, and I'm going to bring this up where you can actually go here, book some time. So there'll be a link if you want to chit chat and talk, just some testimonials, things of that nature. You can go right there, fill that out. It's just a simple application, see if we're a good fit, and we'll rock together or not. No harm, no foul. It's all good to go. We're not for everybody, and everybody's not for us, and that's okay. All right. So, anything to add, Erlene?
No, yes, I want to say it was huge having the support. When I first started this, I was just learning and learning videos day and night, just learning, absorbing things. But then when I turned around, there was nobody. I had no support. It was just me. Right. So to be able to come into a program and team up with Eric or even other people that I have now, it's huge. You can't even imagine how much it means.
Awesome. You're right on point there. It's true. And that was what we were seeing a lot happening in the industry for a while, and it still is, right? It's sad. There's some good stuff out there, and there's some bad stuff out there, and it just makes it difficult. But you're absolutely right, and that's why we do it, right? There has to be a passion, it has to be a lifestyle, because it takes bandwidth to do stuff like this, right?
Yeah.
So and we appreciate you as well, and believing in the cause and mission, because that's what we're all about. I know what you're about, and I know what your cause and mission is too. So. It's an alignment. That's all we're really doing is aligning ourselves with other people to move forward, to achieve what we want to achieve. So I prefer to have it like that instead of just going, hey, you got a pulse. Yeah, come on board. You're good to go. Right? Hey, you got a pulse. Come aboard. You're good. Okay. Oh, you credit, whatever, go for it. It's kind of like, that's cool, but I want to be able to sleep at night, and I want to be able to deliver what we're going to deliver to you, right? And vice versa. And we can't do that unless we build a target. We understand who you're about, what your passions are, and your whys, so we can make that happen, right? Super important. Most people are not going to take all that time, or they'll put it in maybe a survey and then, okay, cool. And then someone who's going to, close you somehow, some way, maybe it's a, VA, or maybe they're a high ticket salesperson, whatever. I get it. But even to that point, we do the same thing, but I always want to know who the heck we're bringing on, right? Because it's super important, and I think personally, anyways. But no, those were some great feedback there. I'm going to go ahead and post this real quick, and I should say put it up here. Let me see if I can do this. I'm going to add that. 1 second, then we'll go ahead and wrap out. We'll wrap up. It's been a long week. And then this, I know we like to, whoops. Don't remove that. Okay. What happened? Nope. What happened? Did we lose it? Oh, we'll add it. There we go. Okay. So this is pretty cool, this software that we're using. And I'm going to pull this up down here so we can actually do this. And that's right there. There's a QR code that you can scan. If you watch this all the way through, forward and backwards, look for, all the golden nuggets and pro tips. First and foremost, I'm not an attorney. I am not a CPA. I'm not a bookkeeper, financial analyst, any of that stuff. This is for, obviously, entertainment purposes for the Amplified Real Estate Show. But you can take whatever you need to, but just make sure you do your research, as always, right? That's the thing. People don't do the research as much as they used to. They need to, right? As far as for what you want to do for your business. For me, I was like, how do I want my business to be perceived? Erlene's the same way. How does she want her business to be perceived, and her team, and what she's doing, and what she wants to build, right? And what everybody wants to build at the end of the day, because obviously it's your business and it's your personality. But you can scan that QR code right there. I'm going to pull this up right here and see if we make it. There we go. There we go. And you can do that and book some time, 30 minutes. Or if you're talking with Erlene at all, she hit her up in the DM. hit me up in the DM or scan that QR code, or she'll send you a link. We'll chit chat. We'll talk. It'll be anywhere from 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes. Heck, if it's an hour, it's an hour. It's not like multi-level marketing. You ever been through that, Erlene?
Yeah, I'm good at it.
Right?
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, oh, wait, let me call you right back. I got things are happening. I got 1 second. Let me call you back. Then they hang up on your ass. You're like, what the hell? What was that all about, right? That's it's a skill set they're taught. But I always say, even when we're mentoring too, it'll go over sometimes. It's not like, hey, it's an hour. Bing, 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 bing. There's the clock goes off, right? Like a timer, like you're baking, a cake or something. Hey, we got to go. Hopefully it worked out for you. Go do your videos and go do the homework, and we'll see you later. It's like, no. And if there's a meeting that rolls over into someone else's mentee, or even into one of my meetings or someone else's meetings, we're going to keep going until we're done, right? I always think, and I get gruff from it, right, from my team and everybody. Hey, you can't be doing that. You're spending too much time. You can't do that, right? I said, well, why not? I would, because that's what I want for me, right? PMA, positive mental attitude, right? And treat others as you want to be treated. The golden rule. And if I want to spend time, and if I'm not getting it, then you're willing to help me, then cool. I'm going to respect your time, of course. I'm going to keep saying that. And if you keep telling me, no, we're good to go. We're good to go. Let's keep moving, right? And then we get off the horn and we go, cool. And hopefully you understand it. The only time you're going to get videos and PDFs is to reiterate what we did during the muscle power of us working together, right? So it's downloaded into your brain subconsciously until you hit a trigger. And then once you hit a trigger, it'll come into the conscious mind. And that works. That's how athletes are trained and mentored and stuff, right? And so you become the expert at it. And you just but your job, if you're watching this and that's you got to keep doing it over and over and over and over. Practice, 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 because practice does not make perfect. People used to say that practice makes perfect. My dad said, no, practice makes better and better and better. Become a better expert. That's about it. And you just keep rolling. So that's what I want to leave. And once you understand that it's in your head, no one can ever take it away from you.
Yeah.
It's a superhero power. And then if you decide you want to share it, then cool. I got mentees that want to turn into coaches, or they want to do the same thing and build out their stuff. So cool. Hey, more power to you, right? Find what your power is. Find what you enjoy and like. And that's what I like doing and enjoy right now until I don't, right? So, and same with Erlene. So I'll leave it at that. I'm going to wrap this up. I'm Erick from AHA, Americans Helping Americans, and AMP Live, the American Mentee Program, powered by AMP Live Media. That powers our mentees and myself and ourselves, what we do here when we're hunting deals. That's just a media broadcasting marketing company, sponsored by VIP Execs Realty and Lending. Step into excellence. You got a real estate license, need some help? Rock and roll. You want to get one? That's cool. I'm turning out to Elizabeth. She'll help you out or point you in the right direction. If it's a good fit, same thing. Over here on this side, the private sector, right? That's AHA, Americans Helping Americans, and Live. Do appreciate you watching. As I always say, I'm going to wrap this up. Before I do, you have anything here you want to give your handles out and share anything, Erlene?
Nope, I'm good. Thank you, Eric. I appreciate you.
Yeah, no problem. So without further ado, rock and roll and all that you do. And God we trust. Let's get back to Made in America. If you feel we're a good fit or you like what's happening here, please share it with others. Let's talk. Let's chat. Get in touch with Erlene, and we'll chat and see if we're a good fit. And if you are, then hey, we Erlene, us, all of us love to welcome you aboard. Okay, no harm, no foul. If it's not a good fit, but that's okay, right? Maybe later on. We have an open book here, and we don't take it. No hard feelings, right? But rock and roll and all what you do. Erlene, thank you very much. I'll talk to you a little bit later. Yeah, you guys have an awesome, week. Get geared up for the week. We'll see you back for this Wednesday and Friday for Friday highlights, and we'll talk soon. All right.